Mr. William James Fleury, born in 1865, was the youngest child of Aurora implement manufacturer Joseph Fleury. By the age of 15, he had lost both his parents, but he was raised by his stepmother. In 1881, William was 16 when the first report of him playing in a local cricket match was recorded when Aurora played against Parkdale on the Aurora Oval. Will batted 27 runs for Aurora in a home-side victory. In 1867, Sir John A. Macdonald declared cricket Canada's national sport. Amateur sportsmen played cricket from mid-May until October. Fleury played for many clubs between 1881 and 1887, such as Aurora, Newmarket, Osgoode Hall, the Toronto Cricket Club, the Royal Canadian Yacht Club, Rosedale, and many more. George Barber, the acknowledged father of cricket in Canada and founder of the Toronto Cricket Club in 1827, further introduced cricket to the town of York while a master at Upper Canada College, where Will completed his high school education. At age 22, Fleury was selected by George Lindsay of the TCC to be one of 12 members of the Gentlemen of Canada, assembled to tour the UK during the summer of 1887, Queen Victoria's Jubilee year. His teammates nicknamed him the Rustic, a friendly reference to his rural roots. During the tour, at a match in Cheshire, the Canadians met and played against Dr. W.G. Grace, who is considered to be among the few truly legendary players of his era. While a student at Osgoode Hall and as a young barrister, Fleury played regularly in Canada and the U.S. During the summer tour of the Gentlemen of Ireland, Fleury played against the touring Irishmen as part of the All-North players in Orillia in 1888. Fleury batted 20 runs in for the All-North and recorded 2 outs as a bowler. As part of the Gentlemen of Canada, Fleury played against the Irishmen at the Toronto Cricket Club's Carhowell ground. It was rare for a player to bat, bowl, and field with equal skill. Fleury was a left-handed batsman whose slow right-handed bowling was a well-known weapon, which the British press once described as mystifying his opponents. He was a canny, swift fielder and had a good arm. As a batsman, he recorded at least 2 centuries, that is, 100 runs in a single at-bat. And on another occasion he missed a 3rd century by only 1 run. Will scored 103 runs, not out, against a Quebec side and was awarded the Silver Trophy badge by the Ontario Cricket Association in 1890.
At that time it was known as a gentleman's game. In fact, if there were teams from Ireland or States or anywhere else cricketing countries, they were known as the Gentlemen of Ireland or the Gentlemen of Canada.
At the age of 39, in a 1904 contest between the Toronto Cricket Club and Ridley College, William opened the batting with 44 runs and bowled a few overs in the same game. William's skill and superior knowledge of the game and the respect he received from his peers led to his nomination to captain the Canadian 11 in the 1908 U.S. Tour and the 1910 UK Tour. During the highly successful tour he led in 1910, the Canadians bested several seasoned sides, and the English press gave them solid reviews. As a member of the Gentlemen of Canada in 1887 and 88, Fleury played a significant part in restoring Canada's good name. The team took the Canadian game to the heart of cricket, the hallowed ground of the Oval at Lord's in St. John's Wood, London, which held 28,000 spectators. During the 1910 tour, Fleury, aged 45, captained, managed, and coached the Canadian Zingari. The tours Fleury participated in ran in contrast to the first tour the Canadian cricket players sent abroad to the continent. During the abbreviated 1880 tour, the Canadian players were badly outmatched and outclassed. The Canadian captain was arrested midway through the tour as a deserter from the British Army, and the tour collapsed. In 1887, the Canadians had much to overcome, but by 1910 they had proved themselves on the world stage. The British press pronounced them of a caliber equal to the best in the world. Fleury could take personal pride in that success.
It was a gentleman's game because if you look at the old-time cricket, there were even people who played cricket and wearing their whites and their beautiful sweaters with ribbing at the side, and they even wore ties. And it was a please and a thank you type of game. If you threw a ball at a batsman that wasn't, if you bowled at him and it kind of maybe awkward for him to play, or if it hit him, you apologized. And a batsman, if he ran into the bowler or a fielder, it was all a matter of I'm sorry and please and thank you. So basically it was a game that was very well respected, and people in the game respected each other, and being a non-contact sport, it was easy, and there was a lot of fairness in the sport.
William died in 1946, and now, recognizing his dedication and leadership in the sport of cricket, and in so doing his representation of both Aurora and Canada, we are proud to welcome Mr. William James Fleury into the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame.
See, educational. First of all, what a life. What mustaches for November, that was unbelievable. I had no idea cricket was Canada's sport at one point. If I was live back then, I'd host the TSN cricket panel. Bob McKenzie would be the cricket insider. We would welcome the presenting sponsor, Aurora Mayor Jeffrey Daw, to the stage. And our representative for the late William Fleury, his grandson, David Fleury.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here. I'm David Fleury, as you've heard. I'm here with my brother Bill and my sister Ann, and our families back there. On behalf of my grandfather, it must be on behalf of my grandfather, this is not my sweater, Billy Fleury, or WJ as we called him. It is indeed an honor to be here. I'd like to thank Shauna White, the curator and director of the Aurora Museum, and who inspired this nomination. She's the person who got me into this. And Michelle Johnson, her capable and talented colleague, our host Melanie McTeague, and thanks for making this so much fun. Especially I'd like to thank Nancy Black, Ron Weiss. Anyway, I've met incredible people in the last couple of days who people like Don Ball and Dave Tom. I'd like to thank Steve Forsey, the chair of the nominations committee, who phoned me up a few months ago and gave me the happy news and said some very kind things about the nomination. To Brian Black and Bill Jenkins of the nomination committee, I know there are others. But really what I want to say up here is thanks to the vision and commitment of these people and the financial support of committed sponsors, and I'll take the opportunity to thank the city of Aurora who sponsored my grandfather's nomination. invaluable institutions like the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame can thrive. And they keep alive and vibrant and champion our shared history. I think it's really important. Aurorans can be all justly proud of this incredible hall. It's only 5 years old. It's already quite magnificent. Congratulations. I hardly congratulate the other inductees. It's been a thrill to meet you guys, Dan, Mike, and Bob. It's truly an honor to share this evening with you. Thank you. I stand here not as an athlete, but as a historian. It's a great way to put people right to sleep. You've heard most of the history in the video. It's a beautifully done video, and thank you for that. Thank you. I think that's also part of Melanie, but very nicely done video. That's what I used to do in my living, make videos and write music. It was beautifully done. I care about preserving history. I believe it enriches our present. Not everybody cares the same, but there's a few $1 billion invested in Ancestry.com, so I know I'm not alone. Sure. Going to start singing. Oh, is that better? Sorry about that. The fact that we're speaking about my grandfather while we bring something that was completely gone, this part of Aurora's history did not exist. And suddenly here we have that we're bringing something to life that was dead and demised. The fact that we're talking about my granddad, that's great. This honor would completely astound my granddad, I'm sure, although I never knew him. He was born way too early. The generations in my family, no male gets married before 45, so that's why he is truly my grandfather. He finished his career at 45. That was before my father was even born. So my father wouldn't even have known this stuff, and he certainly didn't talk about it. Anyway, my grandfather would have been chuffed. He was definitely a party animal. That waxed mustache that James talked about. If he were standing here, he'd be in a 3-piece suit with spats on, a collar that attached to the back of his jacket. His hair would be immaculate. He'd have a pocket watch. He'd smell of pipe tobacco. And every shot of him as an athlete, it's very important to smoke as an athlete. He held a pipe. Anyway. He'd be the first to leap up here and take in this adulation. I feel a little bit embarrassed because I'm a historian, I'm his grandson. I'm not an athlete. You guys are athletes. I so admire you. My brother is here, he was a goalie. We think goalies are the pinnacle of the sport. It's a masochistic thing to do, and it's a courageous thing to do. We admire both qualities. Anyway, my first role in my family was to be a fan of my brother. So, he's my sports hero. His induction tonight remembers and honors an athlete. And it also brings to life an era when cricket and not hockey was a national sport. Just going to say a couple of words about this. It's unbelievable, James mentioned that as well. It's unbelievable that hockey was not our national sport in 1880. Cricket? Aurora, Newmarket, Holland Landing, Richmond Hill, Yorkville, they all had cricket teams. Kids played cricket in school when they were little. They learned the game. It's partly our British heritage, but Americans also played the game. The United States was a cricket powerhouse. The oldest country club in the States is in Philadelphia. It's the Philadelphia Cricket Club, founded in 1854. Chicago had 2 enormous teams, very successful, and a Canadian who was on this cricket team that went over to England in 1887 deserted us and went to Chicago and became the very top scorer, top bowler. He was voted the best all-rounder of his year. There were long-standing annual Canada-U.S. cricket matches instead of hockey matches, and I know how fiery we get, how impassioned we get with those yearly contests. It's a huge deal. So it was just as big for cricket in 1880. Most of my grandfather's history. The video's quite complete. They speak briefly in the video about Lords of London. Lords of London is the center of cricket in the universe. In 1880, it would be even more so. This was almost hallowed ground, the home of the Marylebone Cricket Club. And they wrote the rules, and for some reason they own the rules of cricket. They own them, so if you want to borrow them, you have to go there and ask. For him, as a 22-year-old, to walk onto the field of Lords with this beautiful Victorian pavilion where test matches had been played, it's the very center of cricket. It would have been thrilling. Like a kid walking into Yankee Stadium in 1920, playing goal at Maple Leaf Gardens. It would have been an amazing thing. We all have our glory days, and I just want to say my grandfather probably counted that moment as one of his glory days, and he would probably tell you about it right now. Anyway, thank you. It's an honor to be here, and my grandfather would be thrilled.
We officially present 2017 inductee William Fleury.